I know a lot of you always kid me for always quoting my dad, but my dad used to say, Joey, a job's about a lot more than a paycheck. He really would say this. It's about a lot more than a paycheck. It's about your dignity. It's about respect. It's about being able to look your kid in the eye and say, honey, it's going to be okay, and mean it. And folks, so let's look at the results. We're not finished yet by any stretch of the imagination, but unemployment rate is at 3.4%, a 50-year low. A near record unemployment. Near record unemployment for Black and Hispanic workers.
My pops used to always say that it's going to be all okay today and every day. Because our worth is making more sense, since it has all been connected to more than dollars and cents. We have first place, a real solid space, within the American dream race. Our unemployment was up and now it's so down, that brown and black babies around town have more smiles than a frown.
We've already created, with your help, 800,000 good-paying manufacturing jobs, the fastest growth in 40 years. And where is it written? Where is it written that America can't lead the world in manufacturing? And I don't know where that's written. For too many decades, we imported projects and exported jobs. Now, thanks to what you've all done, we're exporting American products and creating American jobs.
We're on the move and feeling a real good groove. With manufacturing jobs growing up to 800,000 to put away a 40-year fear. Who said that we wouldn't be back, wearing our top of the game hat, and feeling so good like a bag of chips and all that? From decade to decade, we were stalling as our trade value was falling. Now, they're asking around the global markets and around town, who's that Joe and what's that booming economic sound? American products over here, American products over there. America's economy is booming everywhere.
Folks, Inflation has been a global problem because the pandemic disrupted our supply chains, and Putin's unfair and brutal war in Ukraine disrupted energy supplies as well as food supplies, blocking all that grain in Ukraine. But we're better positioned than any country on earth right now. But we have more to do. But here at home, inflation is coming down. Here at home, gas prices are down $1.50 from their peak. Food inflation is coming down, not fast enough, but coming down. Inflation has fallen every month for the last 6 months, while take-home pay has gone up. Additionally, over the last 2 years, a record 10 million Americans applied to start new businesses. 10 million.
The supply chain has been caught in a knot, and still hoping kibbles and bits are on the shelf like Johnny on the spot. We're like waiting to exhale and still on the right track to receive that shipment of supplies to take up the slack. We've come far and yet have far to go to bounce back and speed up an economy that's been a little slow. On the home front, petrol prices are scaling back from harms and hints of inflation, downgraded a little more than usual because of our de-escalation. Don't have to worry so much more about all the grub that we have already out of desperation stored in our tub. We have established an inverse salary and inflation relation. No sinking ship, and now we can breathe air a little easier with a big gulp instead of a sip. Small business ownership is building brighter futures and on the rise. 10 million more Americans are using their gifts and talents to earn, not a surprise.
And by the way, every time someone starts a small business is an act of hope. And Madam Vice President, I want to thank you for leading that effort to ensure that small businesses have access to capital and the historic laws we enacted that are going to just come into being. Standing here last year, I shared with you a story of American genius and possibilities. Semiconductors, small computer chips the size of a fingerprint that power everything, from cell phones to automobiles and so much more. These chips were invented in America. Let's get that straight, they were invented in America. We used to make 40% of the world's chips. In the last several decades, we lost our edge. We're down to only producing 10%. We all saw what happened during the pandemic when chip factories shut down overseas. Today's automobiles need 3,000 chips, each of those automobiles. But American automobiles couldn't make enough cars because there weren't enough chips. Car prices went up, people got laid off, so did everything from refrigerators to cell phones. We can never let that happen again. That's why we came together to pass the Bipartisan Chips and Science Act. Folks, I know I've been criticized for saying this, but I'm not changing my view. We're going to make sure the supply chain for America begins in America. The supply chain begins in America.
Stay highly motivated and keep hope alive. Dream big and set high goals to survive. Our VP will source out more capital funding so small businesses can keep revenue running. Americans are genius and full of potential, branded as best with a unique differential. Semiconductors are conducted within the states, now a part of our economic exports without rebates. America's treasure chest used to be better off for dips because of economic treats and computer chips. Over time, there has been more of a production regress, alongside a pandemic digress. There is still a greater need to feed all automobile engines that require that little seed. Supply and demand have wrecked our auto markets as auto prices are on the upswing, as refrigerators are stuck with reminders, chips to bring. We're on it, to prevent it, and again stop it. The Chips and Science Act is no overnight hack, it's a full course meal and not simply a snack. We're pumping a full throttle American supply chain. It will be our umbrella during another economic downfall reign. Subscribe and stay tuned for more episodes from this video series.